For thousands of years in a galaxy far, far away, movies have made us laugh, made us cry, made us feel extremely awkward
when watching that sex scene with our parents.
Let's all talk about films with a few guys you could just chill with. If you find a plot hole, they'll fill it right here on BRB Flix. Flix is a podcast for the silver screen. Yoshi rage quits while Jitterbug screams. Dave tries in vain to steer this machine, but the show digresses like it has ADD.
Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Big Red Barrel Flix. We're here to talk about movies because you can only play so many video games, and my Mass Effect diaper is full at the moment, so I decided to take that off, put a little baby powder down there to get rid of the diaper rash, and bam, we're going to talk about movies. So I'm Dave here in Houston, Texas. Jitterbug, Colorado.
Howdy. I already opened my beer. I screwed that up. I know.
God. No, you do one thing on this show, and that is open your beer at the beginning.
No, I scream too. That's something.
Fine. And the guy who probably already also opened his amp, Yoshifett, is in California.
Yeah, not tonight, actually. I'm recovering from illness, so I'm a little hesitant to drink energy drinks at nighttime when I've been sick. For some reason.
Man, it's good for you. It's got all those B vitamins and taurine and ginseng and all those other things you can't pronounce that you don't know what do to your body.
I mean, I know it's good for me, but I just can't do it when I'm not feeling that well. But yeah, I'm out here in California. I actually have movies to talk about this week. Normally I'm like, hey, I watched some TV shows, guys. And
I watched Parks and Rec again.
It's really good. Everybody should watch it. Ron Swanson.
It comes on every week, so
yeah. So I'm vaguely excited to talk about movies, and I liked all the movies I watched. I'll give spoiler alert.
But what?
I don't think that. I don't think you guys will like the movies that I liked, so it's going to be funny to hear you guys make fun of me for that. So I look forward to being mocked. It's kind of my thing. I'm a teacher, you know.
What, were there sequels to The Squid and the Whale, and you watched all of them?
I would. Shut your face. It's a great movie.
It's called Monster Squid and Monster Whale.
3DD. Finally, Laura Linney in 3D.
The whale in 3D. I don't know why. That's hilarious to me. That's so funny.
I think it's because you want to see the book Bukkake scene in 3D.
I just, you know what? I want to see it on the big screen so I can see those ropes of jism sliding off the books.
You really are the master of imagery, my man, my author friend.
Well, Yoshi, since you're so excited, why don't you go first with the rotting of the brains? What did you watch this week? Tell us, inform us, let us know.
Okay, so the movie that I watched the most by choice, I'll say, because the other ones I just kind of stumbled on because they were on movie channels, but was Shutter Island, because I've been on kind of a Scorsese kick lately after you guys have been introducing me to some of his great masterworks, and I really enjoyed Hugo, etc. So my wife and I decided to watch Shutter Island, and I'd heard very mixed things about it. Like, people either really, really liked it or thought it was awful. It was one of those very polarizing films. But ironically, I would say that I just liked it, and that I wouldn't give it super high marks for style and for acting and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I thought it was pretty well made, but there's kind of I guess it's a plot twist, but I felt like it was so telegraphed that actually the plot twist for me became wondering if the plot twist really could be what it was, or if that was a red herring and we were going to find out at the end it was the opposite. Because I felt like it was so obvious what was happening that mystery didn't hold anything for me. But I really liked the way that it was filmed, and I liked DiCaprio in the movie. I thought he was really good. I liked pretty much everybody in the movie, actually. And so I enjoyed it, but it did feel like it could have used a little bit of polish in terms of the story arc so that it wasn't so obvious what was going on all along. I don't know what you guys thought of that movie, but I've heard a lot of people say it's Scorsese's worst, but I don't know. I haven't seen anything like... I guess for me it is, because I haven't seen that many of his movies, but yeah.
I probably am pretty similar to you, except that I fall on the side of not liking it rather than liking it. I agree that it's telegraphed. I think back in 1996, that plot would have been really shocking and surprising to people, but then we went through that boom of we've got to have a twist at the end of a movie, so we've all become jaded to that at this point. And I also, as you guys know, I love Scorsese. I feel like that in that movie, he's not a great horror director. I never felt tense when I was watching it, and there were lots of tense scenes, but I just found myself, I kept trying not to fall asleep during it. So yeah, I can't recommend it. It's not on my to watch list at all.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty boring too. It didn't have that edge of the seatness up to it that you would expect from a movie that's supposed to be suspenseful.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely give you guys that. I guess I kind of enjoyed it in a more cerebral way rather than visceral. I admit the shocks didn't really work and it wasn't a great horror movie or whatever, but I just kind of enjoyed the interactions between the characters and thinking about their dialogue, and some of his camera choices I enjoyed, regardless of whether they're shocking or not. So I guess I'm not saying this is a great movie or anything, but I thought it was pretty well done. I guess I agree with both of you, though, that it wasn't really that shocking or tense. I mean, there were some moments of tension, I thought, but overall, it kind of reminded me oddly of BioShock, but not good enough. BioShock on land and just not as good as BioShock. I leave it to me to compare it to a video game, but I was kind of thinking Rapture style there with the insanity and whatnot, but. I thought it was okay. Anyway, moving on. I watched a couple other movies. Okay, this one I totally stumbled upon, and I enjoyed it, and I don't understand why I enjoyed it, and I need some help here with this one. But I guess if I can enjoy episode 1, I can enjoy anything. But Clash of the Titans, 2010. The remake, the new Clash of the Titans. I stumbled on it on HBO, I think. Mm-hmm. And I turned it on, 10 or 15 minutes in when the statue of Zeus is being torn down. And for some reason, that image totally hooked me. And from that point on, I didn't even care that it was the boring Avatar guy, Sam Worthington or whatever his name is.
That's his name.
Just boring his way through the movie. Or that everybody else was ridiculous. Or that it was pretty shoddy. And the special effects with Medusa were so bad. But I just totally enjoyed it. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I was sick, but because it's this weekend. But some of the over-the-top action scenes, I can't say that I didn't like the movie. I don't think it's a good movie, but I watched the whole thing, and I wanted to see what the Kraken looked like at the end, and I kind of liked Liam Neeson as Zeus. I don't know. I feel awful about the fact that I enjoyed it. I don't think that would have happened before I was on the show, but now totally the guilt. I was just thinking Jitterbug's going to kill me when I say this, Or it was just
I haven't seen it. I have no idea. As I've said,
and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, but I liked it.
Sam Worthington makes me sleepy whenever I see him on TV. I was trying to explain that to my wife the other day, and I think what I came up with was that Sam Worthington hasn't done a lot of work where he isn't in a blue screen environment. He's done some, he just did a Ledge movie or something where he's, I don't know, some kind of jewelry
Man on a Ledge, I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, which looked terrible. But most of his movies he's doing blue screen or green screen or whatever, and I don't think he's a veteran actor enough to be able to do that.
But he's in fucking everything.
Yeah, and he's in all these movies where that's all it is. I remember watching Terminator Salvation, and I couldn't keep myself awake during that. I was literally falling asleep the whole time, and that's where it was. I came up with that. I can't watch you, dude. You just put me to sleep. Whatever movie you're in, I can't take it. I get sleepy. So I don't know. I know I'll get sleepy. Well, if you like it though, they're coming out with Wrath of the Titans now.
Oh no, I saw that, and I'm kind of guilty that I kind of want to see it. Again, it's this whole the part of me that's a movie snob and a hipster thinks why am I watching Clash of the Titans? But the other thing I noticed while watching the movie is that it's clearly made to be seen in 3D, but I was watching it, just normally on TV.
Well, yeah, it wasn't though. It was made as it's a conversion 3D movie.
Okay, but I could see the places where they had tried to convert it or whatever, or they thought, oh, this would look cool, on Zeus's armor that you could kind of tell that in 3D that would pop at you or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just thought well, maybe so it wasn't made for 3D, but I was thinking people watched it in 3D mainly. But that if I saw that movie in 3D, I would have not enjoyed it, nearly as much.
But don't you hate 3D?
Yeah, I do hate 3D. That's my point, is that this is another example of where I'm watching a movie and I'm going, gosh, I'm glad this isn't in 3D. You know, like, debate the merits of that movie all you want, but I just don't see how 3D would make that movie better.
I think I watched it one day, like it was on Showtime or HBO or something, and it was an interesting time to sit and switch off my brain. But his little buddy in that movie, her real name is Gemma Arterton or whatever.
Oh, like Io?
Smoking hot.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So hot.
Oh, she's great.
She was from a Bond movie as well. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
she was.
Yeah, no, she was attractive. That kept me interested too, because she showed up every once in a while because she was like his guardian angel, I guess.
Whatever. But yeah, she I just kept going. Why?
I guess that was her angel. That was his angel. I guess. Yes. I don't know, not guardian angel, but never mind.
Because I remember just watching it because as I was watching it, I was comparing it to the other, the old.
The original,
that one, and I was like, "Oh man, why isn't he hooking up with her?" And then it's like,
it made me mad because they show you the little owl from the first one, and they're like, "Don't take that; that's a piece of junk." I'm like, "No, that was the best thing from the original."
Yeah, Bobo.
take Bobo. About, Bobo, that was his name. I'm like, take Bobo, So,
no, the best thing from the original was the boobies.
Yeah, there were boobies.
It wasn't the Bobo; it was the boobies.
That's true. I forgot about that. How could I? I guess they couldn't do that because they wanted to make this one. I suppose this was PG-13.
I think so.
Yeah, because they wanted to get the mass obvious.
They couldn't put a boob in there, but they had to make it insanely crazy violent. That's the new culture.
Right, exactly.
Take the boobs out, and you can sever a couple heads here and there.
I was gonna say, you if you chop the boob off, I think then it goes from being R back to PG-13.
As long as you don't see a nipple,
right? As long as you chop it off first.
You cannot see the nipple, but it's fine if you chop a boob off.
I think Dave, you mentioned, or Aaron, or excuse me. Not Aaron, Jitterbug.
Oh,
you're
great.
Not Aaron. Now everybody's going to know you're the world-famous author of Deadlocked and Deadlocked 2 and Deadlocked 3. And Pray No More.
Wait, and Pray No More, my new novel that just got released,
Just got released. You guys should check that out online. Also on musicals.com. Sorry. No, people actually like your thing, unlike musicals. I was going to say that someone brought up Prince of Persia, and that's the feel. I feel like if I saw Prince of Persia on like a Saturday afternoon when I was kind of half sick, like I saw Clash of the Titans, I'd probably say that was a good movie too. So.
Oh God, no, Yoshi, don't watch movies when you're sick anymore. If that's the case, then you can't watch movies.
I think that's true. I don't think I can have a legitimate opinion about a film.
You've got Arrested Development on DVD, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay, so that's what you do. Whenever you get sick, you just sit down and you watch Arrested Development. Maybe It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's now what you have to do.
Okay, or can I? How about Aqua Teen? Is that okay? Because I really like watching old Aqua Teen. Okay, thank you. I just want to. I'll send you like a list of things that I might want to watch when I'm sick.
I'll tell you, no, the NyQuil is going to make you think that was good, and that's not a good thing.
I love how you assume that I take NyQuil during the day, which I do, but whatever.
Oh, I do. I have 2 bottles of NyQuil around here somewhere.
The last movie I wanted to talk about, I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I usually don't with this section, so I think it's kind of fair. I finally saw Drag Me to Hell, which is a movie that I'd want to see. I had wanted to see for a long time because I like Sam Raimi a lot, and I was kind of, I didn't really like Spider-Man 3 very much, and I don't know, that kind of made me mad. But and I had heard this movie was like, okay, this is back to his roots or whatever. And I know that not everyone thought it was great, but wow, did I enjoy every moment of that movie. And the thing you guys were just saying about like shocking you, and how Scorsese's not really that good at that. I think Sam Raimi's excellent at that. Even when I know it's coming, I'm like, ugh, and then all this crazy shit happens, and it's so overboard. Like, I knew I was gonna fall in love with that movie from the very first scene where the gypsy lady attacks her in her car, and her teeth get knocked out, and she starts trying to gum her to death. I was like, oh my god, this is so Sam Raimi. Like, this whole thing is like, wow, this is Evil Dead. It took me back. I loved the progression of the whole thing, how silly it was, but at the same time, it had that cool, like, it works on both levels kind of thing, where I was frightened by some parts, like, more like shocked frightened, not like, oh, I'm really scared, but like, whoa, what, that just happened? She's eating maggots? Oh my god, or the scene when she's digging the grave is just brilliant. But so I thought it was great. I don't know what you guys think of that movie, but I just thought it was like, for being what it was, I felt like it knew exactly what it wanted to be, and it did that perfectly. That's my opinion of that film.
All right, Dave, do you want to go first?
No, you got this.
Okay. Here's my thoughts on Drag Me to Hell. I enjoyed it. I like that movie. I think that when you're dealing with a horror comedy, the fine line that you're going to go after is, do I make this just an absolute outrageous comedy like Dead Alive? It's not approaching that line of horrific at all. It's just going straight for the comedy. And then you've got ones that are more the Sam Raimi type, where he's inching a little bit closer to the, is this a horror movie line? And with Drag Me to Hell, he gets it right up to that line. And that's kind of why I had a little bit of trouble with it, is that I felt like it couldn't decide, is it scary? Is it a goofball comedy? Because there were some moments where I was, wow, that was really cool, and that was creepy and scary. And then something just so bizarre and ridiculous and hilarious, like it belongs in Army of Darkness, kind of funny, would happen. And I would flip-flop back and forth between this, am I watching a horror movie or is this a straight-up comedy?
I guess I could see that, but there was some stuff that was like really dark in there that like kept me kind of like the whole like aspect of the seance and communicating with the Lamia or the dead or whatever it is, and then the business with her cat. Like there was enough stuff in there where I was like, oh my god. That it kept it dark enough so that the comedic stuff worked really well. And then I also love scenes like the scene where she goes with Justin Long's character to visit the parents, and the parents are like awful people, but the mom's awful. And like her anxiety about meeting the parents is like being played out with her anxiety about this curse that she has, so the cake has an eye, and then she gives him this coughing fit and she coughs up that fly and she throws it. To me, that was a great scene because, that's a very terrifying thing, is to meet the parents of, a significant other. And the way that played out in the horror realm was both funny and like, it seemed like accurate and telling at the same time. So I kind of felt like they got it right. I could see how someone would say, well, it didn't really make up its mind. But when I watched it, I was thinking, oh, this movie knows it wants to be this mixture of both. And they did it. That's how I felt about it. And I mean, I totally get other people thinking that it didn't work, or I know a lot of people didn't like it because they expected like a hardcore horror movie, and then the goofy elements threw them. Like the scene where, for example, in the bank where her nose just starts bleeding and she's just like spouting blood over everybody in the bank. It's just, to me, a scene like that, just I love it because it comes with all this tension. She's working with this other guy. Again, it's reflecting what's going on in the scene. A lot of times, the ridiculousness of the horror and whatnot. So I just enjoyed it. I can't really be that critical of it because I never wanted to turn it off, and I always kind of wanted to see what was going to happen next. And I actually thought the ending was kind of vaguely telegraphed. Like I kind of figured it out, and I had like a thought for an alternate ending, but I don't want to spoil for anything. But for people who haven't seen it, but that was my only complaint, I guess, is that I kind of knew that she couldn't win, and so whatever.
I don't know. I thought it was all right. Like, I watched it, but at the same time, I would never own it or be like, oh, I need to watch that again. Like Jitterbug was saying, it's like, if I'm going to watch The Walking Dead, I'll watch, not The Walking Dead, The Evil Dead, I'll watch one of those, or Army of Darkness. And if I want to watch something more serious, I'll go, into something more serious, Friday the 13th, something like that.
I think that's also my issue, Dave, is that if you were to ask me, let's sit down and watch a horror movie or a comedy, I'm not going to sit down and pick that movie. I can't imagine the situation where I'd sit down and pick that movie to watch. So that's...
I think my thing is that movie felt very visceral to me. Like,
I think the thing is you were high on cough syrup and just don't want to admit it.
I was normal when I watched this movie. There was nothing going on except for me watching the movie, a movie that I'd wanted to see for a long time. And I kind of I don't know. It's weird because if you look at the reviews of that movie, it's over 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, but the viewer score is something like 60%. So the average person didn't like it as much as the average critic, which that's always interesting to me because usually there's more alignment, when a movie has a really high rating like that. But I think a lot of people didn't know what to make of that movie. And I can see why, but I could see situations where I'd want to watch that movie. Because, like I said, I feel like it's, you experience it with her. And that experience is kind of like vaguely frightening, but also more like just living vicariously through this really weird, messed up situation. I liked it. I would watch it again. I might even go as far as to say that if I watched it again and I liked it again, I would own it. Maybe I like it a little too much, but I'm just going to throw that out there. Anyway, so I'm done with rotting my brain. Sorry I took so much time up, but normally I have nothing to say at this point. So
that's all good. Yeah, it's good to see you finally committing to this segment of the show.
Starting to watch movies.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we do a movie podcast. Let's watch more than one in a week. It'd be awesome. Jitterbug, how did you rot your brains?
Well, I watched the Oscars. I don't know if we're going to talk at all about the Oscars, but we're a movie podcast.
I figured it would be kind of a lost cause because I have not seen every movie that was,
Yeah.
We have, actually, I could say we as a collective have probably not seen all of the movies, even just for Best Picture, that were nominated.
No, I saw like Moneyball and Hugo or something. I don't know if I saw any of the other ones, but
I agree. I'm married with kids, so seeing movies in the theater, give me a break. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, be like, so what do you think about this movie winning? Well, I haven't seen it or four of the other movies that were nominated, so I'm just going to go with it.
We could talk about the fact that it's, I don't know if you guys think this, but I think it's ridiculous that they have so many nominees for Best Picture. Like, dude, narrow it down. Come on.
Oh, well, actually, you know what? I do want to mention something about the Oscars. I was pissed off that they said that there was only 2 songs that were worthy of an Oscar. But
8 movies?
That I cannot tell you how infuriated I was about that. And I'm sure that you and all of our listeners can understand how infuriated I get about
things. We can imagine how infuriated you get.
Well, do you mean you're infuriated that they didn't think that there were more that were worthy of a nomination, or that this year had such weak soundtracks?
Well, the only reason that an award show that's designed to do awards for movies that come out, the only way that they should have only 2 songs up on there is if only 2 fucking songs ever came out during the year. It's not your job to set up some invisible bar that people have to achieve in order to qualify to be on there. That's fucking ridiculous. I was so pissed about that.
You know what? I would take what Jitterbug's saying and run with it a little bit more and say that the whole point of award shows is like historical mainly. So we can look back and go, oh, right, that's the year that, Titanic won, or that's the year that Forrest Gump won, and this one and that one. Because really, it doesn't matter. I mean, somebody from the bass player from Pearl Jam, Jeff Ament, was talking about how weird it is to win an award for art. Because it's a weird concept. Like, you can win an award for, you're the basketball champion of, Indiana or whatever, and that makes sense. But winning awards for art is weird to begin with. So, to me, the whole idea of these award shows is that they tell you what happened that year. If you're only going to nominate 2 songs, but you're not going to nominate 9 movies, like, come on, dude. That you're kind of subverting the whole point of your own show.
Well, if you haven't noticed, the Oscars really get boners for musicals when they come out, like
Chicago,
Ever After, or what was the name of that stupid movie? The movie with Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson and
Showgirls, I think, or something.
No, I think that was Dreamgirls.
Showgirls.
When stuff like that comes up, that's like
Showgirls.
4 Showgirls. Yeah,
Freudian slip.
God, I wish Beyonce was in Showgirls.
You and everyone else, except for Jay-Z.
But like they'll get 4 nominations, but they usually won't win though. That's the funny thing.
Yeah,
like I remember Ever After had like 4 songs nominated one year, and then like there was like 1 or 2 other songs that weren't in that movie, and they won. It's like, what? Ugh.
What won the year that Chicago was nominated for Best Picture?
Probably a Chicago song.
No, I mean for Best Picture. Because wasn't that movie nominated for Best Picture?
I think so.
It seems to be. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, my whole thing with it is that if you're going to go out there and say, okay, well, we're going to have 5 nominees for Best Song, and then you say, well, you know what, only 2 songs qualified. Whoa! You've never put out anything saying that there's qualifications. What you said was we're going to pick the 5 best of the year. So that means unless there's some benchmark that people have to reach, which you've never said, you can't fucking do that. That's like 10 people walking into a room and you saying, you know what, I'm going to pick the people here that have the highest IQ. So show me all your IQs. Oh, well, only 2 of you qualify. What the f*** are you talking about? There's 3 other people here that are clearly on that list. So I was so pissed about that, and not only because
I agree, it's stupid.
Hey, if Norbit can get nominated for an Academy Award, how high can the bar be?
But you had Trent Reznor did the soundtrack for the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and while I wasn't a huge fan of the song that he did, it should have been nominated purely because they only nominated 2, so that was a third song. That was stupid. It was so stupid. I was so pissed off about that. And so there you have it. There's my rant about that. Other than that, what have I been doing? I watched Being Elmo. Have you guys heard about that? About the guy that...
I saw it. I have not. I saw it. I think I added it to my InstaQ, but I have not.
No, I
seen
saw
it.
the parody video for Sexy and I Know It called I'm Elmo and I Know It, which is fantastic if you know the song Sexy and I Know It. But.
It's basically about... Isn't Elmo played by a black guy, and that was a big deal back then? Isn't that what it's about?
It's not so much about that. It's not anything about race, which I was very refreshing that they didn't deal a lot with that. They deal with where he grew up and that he was poor and that, but there's no racism. And I mean, when you're dealing, the only thing that they do say is that Jim Henson would like to talk to you, and you have a good chance because there aren't any black puppeteers. They do mention that in the movie, but that's not a big center point of it. Really what it's about...
So Jim Henson was a little affirmative action with his puppeteers there with that one? He was like, I want a black puppeteer.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's no question that Jim Henson was a very liberal-minded person, so...
Yep, that's why he only had one black puppeteer. Get out of here, Jitterbug!
But what this movie's about is... and this is a movie that I recommend to you guys. Absolutely. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed this movie. And yeah, it's about Elmo, and I'm sure that turns a lot of people off. And it's for people our age. Once you get to the point to where you really appreciate somebody going for what they love to do. This is what this guy from when he was a kid, he always wanted to do this. He dreamed of it. It was his passion, and he turned it into something. And I can see a lot of people like 18-year-olds or low 20-year-olds sitting there going, "Oh, I don't want to watch a movie about Elmo. That's lame," and the dismissive wank and that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, this guy's passion was this. It was doing this and meeting Jim Henson, and all of this stuff came true for him from his hard work, and you see that in it, and it's so well done. I don't know how they did this to where they have so much footage of him as a kid, and it's almost as if they were planning this documentary his entire life, because they have footage that's just shocking. Like the first time that he meets, I think it's Kermit something, but it's the guy that helped Jim Henson build the puppets, and it's one of my favorite scenes. He's talking about how he used to make puppets at home, and he would stitch them together, and he could never figure out how did they get it with the Muppets and Sesame Street and that, to where you didn't see the seam. You could never see the seam on those puppets, and he couldn't figure out how to do it. And he gets to this guy's office, and he asks him, and he says, "Oh yeah, come over here, I'll show you." And he shows him that they use felt to do that, and then they showed him what is called the Jim Henson stitch, and it was the secret stitch. And just to see him, which, none of that means anything to me, but to see this guy who this has been his passion his whole life, and he's sitting down there with the master of this, and he shows him how to do it, and it's just like, oh, dude, I'm so happy for you.
So is this like pre-YouTube then? Because you could probably YouTube how to make a puppet with no seam now, and you get like 80 videos about it.
Yeah, well, this would definitely be pre-YouTube. Yeah.
Wow, look at the hipster breaking out the YouTube. I don't need to watch this. I don't need to go meet Jim Henson. I'll just YouTube it.
I'm just saying that it seems like arcane information like that just doesn't exist anymore. If you want to know something, it's on the internet.
Pretty much.
Yeah. The secrets aren't there, which is maybe that's another reason to recommend that movie, though, is to see someone with a genuine discovery and that sense of awe that you don't really see very often anymore.
Well, you get it. See, my favorite part about the movie, and it's not giving anything away because this is a documentary, it's not a plot kind of thing, but
spoiler alert!
Once you get to the end of the movie, he's now the master. I mean, this guy is the absolute icon of that industry now, and close to the end of the movie, that you get a scene to where he invites a kid in, and the kid walks into the office, and he's walking around and looking at all the different things, and they had the video of this guy seeing all this stuff for the first time, and now they've got this little kid walking in. It's the exact same thing, and it's just like, what a beautiful bookend to this movie, and it's really good. I highly recommend it. So other than
touching.
that, I finally got into the Spaced series, and everybody was right. That series is just as good as everybody mentioned.
Oh, it's so much fun. So much fun.
Watched Hoop Dreams, which that's a good one if you guys haven't seen that. It's a nice 3-hour documentary about high school basketball in Chicago.
Heard nothing but good things about it, so I definitely on my list.
It's long. It's 171 minutes, so be prepared for that. And I watched Pearl Jam 20, so there you have it. That's what I watched.
Did you like Pearl Jam 20? I was just quoting that, actually.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that. Yeah, it's you've got to like Pearl Jam. If you're not a fan of Pearl Jam, you're not going to like it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Pearl Jam, so I loved it. Yeah, I'll say everybody knows I'm a raging, bleeding heart liberal, and Pearl Jam was actually responsible for one of the very first intelligent liberal ideas that kind of floated through my head, and that was when they had that big battle with Ticketmaster. And that was right around the time that they became the band to hate, was right after the whole Ticketmaster thing. And I remember so well getting into conversations with friends of mine about Ticketmaster, and they're like, why? Oh, I hate Pearl Jam. Why would they do this? It's such a pain in the ass. Because I remember not being able to get tickets to go see, I think it was No Code, that concert tour.
Yeah,
and,
that was
we couldn't get tickets. It was a pain in the ass, and everybody was pissed off at them. And I remember thinking to myself at that age, it was like, well, you know what? I'm not really that mad about this. They kind of are doing something really cool by standing up against these guys, because they do run a monopoly. And I've been seeing enough shows to where, yeah, Ticketmaster does have a ridiculous monopoly on this, and that's not okay. That's not good for the bands and for the business.
Didn't you think that the scenes where they were in the courtroom and they were discussing it with Congress had kind of a Spinal Tap feel to it?
Oh, well, it had a Spinal Tap on the opposite side, though, to where it wasn't the band that was ridiculous. It was the congressman.
Well, you know that scene in Spinal Tap where, I can't think of his name right now, but in that movie, he plays, they're going to a military base, and he's like the head military guy. And he says to the Spinal Tap members, he says, "Oh, we're really big fans of your music. Well, not your band in particular, but the rock and roll music." And that totally reminded me of those senators. That's what they sounded like. They had like no idea what was going on. Like they were so clueless about it, and that was what blew my mind. They kept trying to say things to make them seem like they were, they knew what they were talking about, but the Pearl Jam guys were just like, "What are you talking about? Like, what?" Like you're so out of touch with what's actually going on here, The
thing that really shocked me about that scene was how the Congress people kept on coming at them saying things like, "Well, I don't know your music," or somebody else said, "I didn't know you before I got up here." And every time that one of them would say something dismissive like that, it was like, "Well, then you're not doing your fucking job."
Yeah,
dude, have you not noticed that's how they work though? What was that, SOPA? They were talking about SOPA, and the people on the the online panel or whatever.
Yeah, like the committee.
Yeah, the committee for like online rules or whatever had no idea what they were working on. Like none. Like they were like, "So can you explain this to us?" Like the chairman is like, I don't really know. I mean, I have a computer. I use it. And it's like, are you kidding me?
People deliver internets to it.
Yeah.
What they kept on saying during the SOPA thing was I kept hearing them say, "Well, you know what we need to do is we need to get a bunch of nerds in here to do this." And it's
nerds.
Like,
we need to call our nerds. Why are the nerds not here?
And you know what? You need to, because they're going to be your fucking boss, you retard. You're going to go up in Congress and you're not going to know what the hell you're talking about? Shocking. So I guess that's part of the game, and we see it constantly. But yeah, it's ludicrous.
And I mean, not to sound ageist, if that's the word, but if you're like 60 years old, dude, you do not need to be in charge of the Internet Committee. I'm sorry.
No, I don't give a shit if you're 60 years old. I couldn't care less. If you're 80 years old and you're in charge of the Internet, fine. You better know your shit, though. You better know what you're talking about. You should know what the the Internet is. That's the thing. It's like, it doesn't matter what age you are, but you should be fucking good at it.
Yeah. I think Dave is saying that, on the whole, younger people have a better grasp on the internet.
Yeah, no, I understand.
What is an iPod?
The person that doesn't know that shouldn't be in charge of iPods. So what have you been watching, Dave?
Oh,
yeah. Hey,
finally,
Dave,
we're back to
you're
me.
On the show.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm here.
And that's it for this week of BKR.
For the Eddie Vedder podcast. Next week, we'll talk about somebody else.
Talk about Fred Durst.
Oh,
that'd be awesome.
He did it for the nookie.
Break something tonight. Give me something
I watched a movie called Elite Squad. It's a Brazilian movie, basically about this elite squad.
Obviously.
And they're like their cops and their military are the same thing. And it's basically about this one guy trying to find his replacement because he doesn't want to be in this like elite squad of like 100 guys that run around and kill drug dealers. and it basically shows like the recruits he wants coming up, like they're rookies and stuff like that, and finding out about all the corruption and stuff that's in like Rio de Janeiro, which is where this group is, and just basically how badass these guys are, because they just run around, they fucking kill everybody. It's not like, please freeze. It's like, hey, look, that guy's got a gun. It's pretty awesome. I enjoyed it. It kind of ends suddenly. It's like, so I'm waiting for, because they talk the whole time, they're talking about like the Pope coming to town and how they need to make this war-torn city safe, and then they never really get to that.
Sounds intriguing.
But it was pretty interesting to see a story from the mean streets of Brazil.
So what do you think of that Act of Valor that came out? You guys know what that is? That movie that's all about the...
Oh, yeah. Well, you mean starring active duty Navy SEALs?
Yeah, it did really well. It did incredibly well in theaters, so expect to see more of that.
I read the reviews for it. Every review said that the Navy SEALs weren't great actors, but all of the action scenes are amazing.
They said the action scenes are accurate, but I never read any that said that they were like super exciting or anything, just that they seemed very legitimate.
I read one that said if this movie was all about shooting and explosions and nothing else, they would be great.
Just be a Modern Warfare 3 cutscene. But
hell yeah.
This has been a running joke with us in our department. We've been talking about like different movies that need to be made with active duty fill in the blank. Like why isn't there a movie about schools with active duty teachers? Why isn't there a movie about like a bank teller with active duty bank tellers? It's just like I kind of don't understand like the appeal of having real Navy SEALs in a fake movie.
Want to know why? Because Navy SEALs are hot right now. They shot Bin Laden.
Well, no, I get that part of it, but it's just like, really, is somebody gonna go like, man, I really want to see that movie because I want to know what it's really like. Like these guys will give it to us straight and none of this Hollywood BS. It just seems like a really, really weird marketing strategy. Like I guess it worked, but it didn't appeal to me, obviously.
I think my opinion on that is that if you take a look at a movie like Black Hawk Down, the reason that one feels so visceral is because they put those guys through so much training in order to be able to do what they did. And there's no question that when you're talking about guns and doing the operations that these guys do, that if you've had experience doing it, you're going to look better doing it. So I think there's definitely a cool market for this, and I'm all for it. I think that these guys are going to be able to pull this off. Now, their acting skills, that's the thing that I think a lot of people just assume, well, anybody can act. No, you can't. I don't mean to put too many, flowers in these guys' vases or whatever. I don't know where I'm going with that. But I don't mean to give these guys...
That was a cool metaphor, man.
I don't mean to give these guys too many props, but...
I like it.
Yeah, actors, not everybody can step in and do that job. It takes a lot to be able to have that charisma that passes on to the screen. And, you can't just expect any soldier out there to be able to do it, but it sure is nice when they do. And I'll give you an example of one movie that came out recently that unfortunately the girl didn't have that great of charisma, but you could tell that she was really good, was that one where Steven Soderbergh did just recently, and I can't remember the name of it, where it was the female wrestler that was kind of the Bourne Supremacy kind of movie.
Oh, Haywire?
Haywire, right. The Haywire movie. So you've got that, and she's not the greatest actress in the world, but when you watch her move, it's stunning. Like, yes, it's amazing to see her do the things she does, because that's what she does. Her body's attuned to it. So when she kicks off the wall and kicks somebody, it doesn't look like some other stupid actress trying to do something like that, like Jessica Simpson doing it. Doesn't look like that, or Drew Barrymore doing it. It looks like she really just...
We'll put in a stunt double, though,
Stunt cock.
I'm just saying, there's definitely a market for it, that these guys can do their job better than others.
But I think, like, when you see an ad that says, oh, this is starring active duty Navy SEALs, that tells you nothing about, like, whether the story is good or the dialogue is good or the acting is good or anything else. It just tells you this one specific thing that, like, it's going to seem realistic, because these guys have actually done this stuff. Which, to me, it doesn't really matter to me in the overall arc of whether a story or a movie is entertaining or fun to watch. Like, I don't really see it. I see what you're saying, but what I'm saying is that, like, to me, that's not a big selling point for a movie. That, like, because I can ignore, things like that, or I wouldn't even know the difference, like, between a person playing an active duty Navy SEAL and one who's not. Like Cliffy B made this comment about how a lot of people criticize the dialogue in Gears of War because they say, oh, it's so over the top. He says, but if we watched a lot of footage of Marines and various other parts of the military branch doing their job, and this is how they talk during battle. And he's like, that's just, we just did what they were saying. And so it wouldn't surprise me if it's, very over the top, etc. But to me, that's not a selling point. But I guess I see that it could be to some people.
Well, I'll tell you where that preview got me, to where it was like, oh my gosh, I really want to see this. When they're talking about the whole, these are active duty and etc. and that whole deal. And then in the preview, they show the guy underwater comes up next to that pier, puts his hands up, and then the sniper takes the guy out and he falls backwards onto his hands, and then he slowly brings him down into the water. That's the kind of maneuver to where I didn't think of that. I've never seen that in a movie before. Do they really do that? Like, is that really a fucking maneuver? Is that what you're telling me, that this is an active duty?
Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And they do that kind of because that is, oh my god, I'm getting a hard on right now. I want to watch this movie. My testosterone's pumping through my veins, and it's like, holy shit. Did you see that? It's kind of like a fireman. I do the same thing for firemen. I get boners for them. No, but when you're talking about firemen, and if it's a movie that's...
Is that why you have that calendar in your
I know, I was going to say, I know what I'm sending you, buddy.
Hello, Mr. September.
The idea that these guys charge into buildings that are on fire, and they take it out, and to watch a movie that was written by a fireman that was about, like, this is how we do this, and these are the steps we go through, and I really saw this happen.
Let me ask you this question then, Jitterbug. Do you think that Backdraft would have been better with active duty firemen?
No.
Kurt Russell, you don't replace the Kurt Russell.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I totally see where you're coming from. It's just like, to me, movies are movies, and like, they're supposed to be fake, and like, that's part of the skill, is acting like you're that thing. And just actually being that thing is like, I'm totally cool. Right, have the active duty guys, supervise and do the script or whatever. But like, to actually have them, you need to have them doing these things for it to be legitimate. It feels silly to me, and in fact, that whole marketing campaign feels like aimed at 16 to 18-year-old boys who are like, they're crap at school, and so they're like, oh, I guess I'll just enlist then, because I hear so many students say this sort of thing, like, oh, well, I'm not going anywhere anyways, so I might as well just, join the army. And it feels very much like this movie is a recruiting movie, and I haven't seen it, so I can't say that's true for sure, but that's kind of what it feels like to me, and that feels a little bit yucky.
Well, I would feel if they came out in the ad campaign and it said, instead of featuring, if it said written by, then it would have had the exact same effect on me. Totally would have had the exact same
I can roll with you then.
Although I will say, though, do you think Active Valor would be better if Sam Worthington were in it? Because I might just fall asleep. If he was the one who was in the water...
I don't know, did you see that Call of Duty commercial? He was pretty solid.
Yeah, I almost fell asleep during it. Luckily, Jonah Hill was there.
Did Jonah Hill keep you awake? Yeah, I was going to say. The stats nerd, Jonah Hill, kept you awake.
Yeah, totally. Sam Worthington's like, oh, God.
I love how Jitterbug and I have taken over Dave's section where he talks about how he
it's so
run
nice
his brain.
to be able to talk about what I watched.
So what else did you watch?
We can talk about something we haven't watched yet for 5 minutes. Let's
Classic.
do that.
Sorry, back to Dave.
Back to me. The other movie I watched was 50-50.
Oh, I've been wanting to see that. I almost said speaking of Jonah Hill, but he's not in it.
Very curious.
No, he's not. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in it.
And Seth Rogen.
And good God, did he become a great actor overnight or what?
Who, Seth Rogen?
No, not Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen's barely in it. Like, he's in it a little bit, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he was third Rock from the Sun.
I think he's an awesome actor. I think he's been...
He is. He's really good. And in this movie, he's great.
If you like him, watch Brick. Seriously. It's outstanding. And he's fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I know he did G.I. Joe, and I don't, but whatever.
We don't talk about that, though.
But the movie is really good. It's about a guy who gets cancer. He's 27, and I'd say the whole movie is about coping. It's, coping with, the fact that you have cancer, and then coping with everyone else coping with you having cancer.
Right.
Because, a lot of influences are, he has, like, his girlfriend, and his best friend is, Seth Rogen, and his mom, who is played by, what's her name? Jessica Houston?
Angelica Houston.
Angelica Houston, that's what her name is. And it's a really good story, and it's
You mean Raul Julia's wife?
Raul?
I love the Addams Family movies.
Not really, sorry. That's the Addams Family reference.
They are, and it's all about Gomez, really.
Gomez. I remember all the quotes from the pinball machine. that was a great pinball machine. I'm actually kind of regretting now that I didn't mention that to Smelly Pirate when he was asking for different pinball machine quotes.
For shame.
I know, awful person, awful friend I am.
But I highly recommend this one. Like the other one is like, is kind of niche, but this one was actually really, really good.
It's the kind of movie that if I said, "Hey, wife, let's watch this movie," she'd be like, "Oh, I've wanted to see that." Like I know for certain, and that's what I call her. Actually, I don't even know her name. I just call her
wife. The wife.
Hey, wife, watch movie with me.
Well, this is a first. We rotted our brains for the entire length of the show. That's a lot of brain rotting.
So is the bonus content going to be the trailers? The
bonus content is going to have to be the trailers. Thank you for joining us once again for this hour of fun in the sun, or at night, or at the gym, or wherever the hell it is you happen to be while you listen to this. I'd like to throw out a few quick iTunes shout-outs before we go. I am Mad from the UK. He says, "Wow, guys, well done." He's a fan of the show. 3 cheers.
That's nice.
For some great shows. Some Tardy Moments, also from the UK, says the best Flix podcast on the internet.
Oh, nice.
There you go. Can't say I disagree.
Nope. And then Sean Hunter says that he needs his Flix. Or, nope, sorry, it says Fix.
Oh, it says Dicks. Oh, no, it says Dicks. It says Dicks.
I need a big red dick.
But anyways, thanks for the iTunes shout-outs, guys. If you want us to shout you out, just go leave us a little iTunes love. We like the iTunes love. It makes us feel good.
And talk to us on the message boards, too.
Yes,
we love that, too.
Go to BigRedBarel.com and on the forums, or on the front page, because it's linked to the forums, and talk about what we talked about.
That's ingenious.
Yes, it is brilliant.
We have done such a thing with Big Red Barrel, and by we, I mean not me, all the amazing people who set up that infrastructure.
Yes, indeed.
I could take zero credit for it. All I do is talk into a microphone twice a week. So,
but we're going to take the trailer trash over to the bonus content because we rambled on a bit long.
Yeah. What are we talking about? Tell them, tease them. Tease them.
Oh yeah, I'll tease you. I dug deep this week. I found some great trailers. There are some gems. I found a movie called Iron Sky. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And Piranha 3 Double D. So these are what we're going to be talking about. So, go pick up the iPhone app on the iPhone Marketplace. Or it's not on the Android Marketplace yet, and the name hasn't changed yet. But I got the artwork. I'm going to talk to them. They're going to change it, and I'm going to get it back on the Android Marketplace. It's on the Amazon Android Marketplace, but not on the actual Android Marketplace. But I'm working on it. So, we're going to get on the bonus content. Thank you for spending an hour of your week with us, because, we like it. We like it a lot. So, have a good one.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcast, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.